Next up on my Steam library, I'm playing Particle Mace. Particle Mace is an indie top-down action game. I'd call it a shooter, but there's no shooting involved, so it can't really be classified as a shoot 'em up. You control a spaceship, but you've got no weapons, no conventional weapons anyway. No lasers, no guns, no rockets, nothing like that. The weapon as it is at your disposal is a particle mace. This consists of a number of orange particles strung to your ship by tethers, and as you fly your ship around, this flails around behind your ship in conjunction with the movement of your ship, and you use this particle mace to destroy the enemies around you on the screen. It's very much a physics-based game. The particle mace flies around in accordance to Newton's laws of motion and inertia, so you have to get to grips with those motions that you have to move your ship in. Like the idea is you fly your ship around in sort of fairly large circles, and the mace sort of at the right sort of speed, the mace flails around nicely behind you in these circles as well. But sometimes that's not enough. You have to kill something like closer to you, and so sometimes you just want to change direction quickly, and the mace will whip out behind you in the opposite direction and get a few things. And sometimes you kind of just want to fly like a very intricate path through your enemies and have the mace just coming behind them, taking them out. So very simple mechanics, but takes a long while to master. You know, you'll get the general gist of it pretty quickly, and then as you play it for an hour or more, you'll start realizing the depth to it and how to really control your mace and get it to do what you want it to do when you want it to do. The graphics are very simple, very much in a sort of vein of an Atari game. Same sort of sound effects as well, but that's perfectly fine. Perfectly great style for this kind of game. Doesn't need to be really in-depth graphics for this kind of particle game. There are several different game modes. There's an arcade game mode where you just basically play for as long as you can without dying, get as big a score as you can, and there's several difficulty levels for that. There's a mission mode where each time you're presented with 3 missions, and to progress to the next mission you just have to complete one of those 3 missions. You can do more if you want, but you just have to do one to get on to the next one. These missions could be kill a certain number of enemies in a certain time, or don't kill a number of enemies, don't kill any enemies in a certain amount of time, avoid getting hit and things like that. So they'll be displayed at the beginning of each mission, and you just have to complete one of those to get on. Apparently according to the menu, there's 150 of those. I went through about 35 of them so far. And there's another mode called Asteroid Field, where there's no enemies, just asteroids, and you have to score as much as possible and survive as long as possible just in this asteroid field. There is also multiplayer and online co-op and deathmatch. I haven't tried either of those yet, but they're in the menu options, so I wonder if there's any games going on, but I haven't tried yet. There's more than one ship. There's other ships to unlock other than the one you start with. They're unlocked basically by getting certain milestones in the different game modes, scoring a certain amount on arcade in the different difficulty settings, getting through certain numbers of missions in the mission mode, scoring a certain amount in the asteroid field mode. So far I've unlocked about four ships. They all have different characteristics. Some of them are slower but have bigger particles. Some of them are faster and have smaller particles on a longer tether. One of them can survive one collision. So there's a fair few ships to unlock, and each one does, slightly different things, which might be slightly better in different circumstances. So it's a very addictive little sort of score attack game, very much in the same vein of like Geometry Wars, that kind of thing. You just keep on coming back. You think, oh, I can do better next time. That was a bullshit death. That was my fault. I flew into the arena edge, or I just flew straight into that asteroid. I should have seen it, and I can come back in and do better. Or I was just 10 points short of unlocking that next ship, so I'm going to go back and try again. So it's got a lot of that going for it. Its asking price is $6.99, which is pretty cheap, but it often pops up in a sale. I got it in a sale myself, so I think $6.99 is okay, maybe a little bit too much, but if you saw it for sort of 25-33% off, that's well worth picking it up at that sort of discount. So that's Particle Mace, a nice little indie arcade action game based on Newtonian physics.